It can be a bit of a tricky task to compare Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, with the thought of Native Americans, because there's vastly different contexts and cultural backgrounds, but there are some areas where comparisons or contrasts may be drawn. Take first the concept of autonomy. Immanuel Kant is known for his emphasis on autonomy, the individual's ability to act according to self-imposed moral laws. His idea of the quote-unquote categorical imperative suggests that moral actions are those we could will to be universal laws, emphasizing rationality and independence. So you should only do things that you think everybody should do. Many Native American cultures prioritize community and interconnectedness over individual autonomy. The idea of living in harmony with others and nature often takes precedence over the Western notion of individual autonomy. For instance, the Lakota concept of mitakuye oyasin, all my relatives, emphasizes interdependence. Kant's rigid focus on individual moral autonomy might seem alien or even destructive compared to Native American philosophies that often view the self as intrinsically linked to the community and the environment. Kant had this idea of rationalism as well. He believed in a structured, rational approach to knowledge, arguing that we understand the world through categories that we can, categories of the mind that shape our experience. So his philosophy divides knowledge into phenomena, that thing which we experience, and noumena, the things in themselves which are unknown. So you can never actually understand an air conditioning unit. You can only understand your experience of the air conditioning unit. Native American epistemologies often embrace a holistic understanding of the world, where knowledge comes from experience, storytelling, dreams, and nature. This approach may include spiritual and intuitive aspects that Kant's framework dismisses irrational or non-empirical. So Kant's rejection of irrational, quote-unquote, non-rational ways of knowing can be seen as dismissive of indigenous knowledge systems that value experiential and spiritual insight. Kant also has this anthropocentric morality. His philosophy centers on human beings, with a focus on rationality as the basis for moral worth. Non-human entities like animals and nature have instrumental value only insofar as they serve human ends. Many Native American philosophies advocate instead for a deep respect for the natural world. They see humans as just one part of this kind of larger ecological system. The environment is often viewed as having intrinsic value, deserving respect and stewardship rather than domination. Kant's anthropocentrism can be critiqued for enabling environmental exploitation, which contrasts with Native American ethics that promote sustainability and reverence for nature. Kant also has this idea of universalism. As I said, that philosophy promotes universal moral laws that apply to all rational beings regardless of context or culture. This universalism seeks to transcend local customs in favor of a global ethical framework. Native American thought often emphasizes cultural particularism, the importance of specific cultural and local contexts in shaping ethical behavior. Ethical principles are seen as arising from particular communities and their unique relationships with the land and each other. Kant's universalism can be criticized for ignoring the richness and diversity of cultural perspectives, potentially marginalizing indigenous worldviews by imposing Western moral frameworks that are seen as being superior or more rational. Finally, there's a way in which Kant is complicit in colonial thought. Although Kant often wrote about cosmopolitanism and the idea of a universal community of humanity, his work is strewn through with Eurocentric and colonial assumptions, like the idea of a civilizing mission. Of course, Native American philosophies and histories are deeply entwined with a resistance to colonialism and the imposition of foreign values and structures. Many indigenous thinkers argue for the recognition and revitalization of their own philosophical traditions free from colonial influence. Kant's philosophy, which is rooted in Enlightenment ideals, can be seen as part of the intellectual backdrop that justified colonial expansion, clashing with Native American efforts to assert sovereignty. So while Immanuel Kant's philosophy has had a profound impact on the development of philosophy in the West, it often stands in stark contrast to the values and worldviews of many Native American cultures. This comparison highlights the tensions between individualism and community, rationalism and holistic knowledge, anthropocentrism and environmental ethics, universalism and cultural particularism, and colonial complicity and indigenous resistance. By examining these points of comparison, we can sort of understand the richness and diversity of different forms of thought and the importance of integrating multiple perspectives in the global philosophical discourse. Thank you so much for listening, and if you like it, please subscribe.